What was that?
Perfect tweet of the bird.
What is that?
I just heard something turn on.
It was me. What was that? Oh, an AC.
I think it's
That's gonna sound great.
You know what? If we just cover up our
Yeah.
mic.
Right.
Actually, I probably should have the whoosh on this, but whatever.
The wind has stopped, though. That's kind of nice.
The wind stopped right as the AC's turned on.
Yeah.
Figures. Anyone want a grasshopper?
This is interesting. Excuse me?
I did not know that was the name of these things.
Oh, is it a Girl Scout cookie? Is that it?
These are from that small elf that lives in a tree.
Senor Keebler?
Those are thin mints that you're thinking of. Basically the same thing. That's a thin mint when it's sold by the Girl Scouts.
I thought that's what those soft little candies in the silver wrappers were.
That's an Andes mint.
No, that's the green ones that are square. I'm talking about the round ones with the white middle.
I still don't know what tamales are.
That was good. yeah, no, really emphasize the crunch.
This podcast has not been sponsored by Keebler or Girl Scouts or Andes.
Or tamales.
So what should we talk about on our first in-person podcast?
Yeah, we didn't really discuss a format for what we should do, like topics.
I really wanted to ask you guys. I was going to Google it, but I forgot to, so that way I could have like the scientific reason behind it. But I was going to ask you guys, why do you think music moves people so emotionally? Like whether it's in movies and the music just at the right time hits, or just in songs in general. Why does music translate so well to emotions?
People are sissies.
Serious answer. I have so timely question actually, because for me recently it's been like I've been getting back into music. It's been really nice, starting with my guitar, but totally inspired by Bo Burnham and his special.
Yeah.
I saw your video.
What
about that,
he
yeah.
did, dude. So recently I've been like just a lot more music in my heart and mind. It's really cool. And I go through waves. I go through ups and downs with music. And for the last probably year and a half, I've experienced a serious down, like no music. Nothing.
Like you don't listen to it even, is what you're saying?
Don't listen to it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a real dry spell since before COVID.
So do you find now that you're back into it, are you listening to old music you used to like? Or are you just, is it new music that's making it a refreshing new thing for you?
It's new music and lyrics that are just coming to me that I'm putting to melodies.
So you're writing.
I am.
That's awesome.
I'm writing, yeah. I did some writing today. I'm trying to spend an amount of time with my guitar every day. That's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
If you need any tips.
yeah, absolutely.
I-
Collaborations, yeah, for many of us.
If you guys want to provide any tips.
Yeah, right.
Because like you were saying, what you're going through with it, but
So
still
you
like,
agree, you agree that it does affect you, but why?
but I'm asking like why? So I think that's really cool. I even saw your video about opening up the guitar and all the different comedians that use musical instruments with their craft, which I think it'd be totally appropriate for you to then do as well.
No doubt. I think you're the most musical out of all of us with your experience and talent. And
But not the funniest, so... Yeah, no.
that wasn't the question I had. You know,
Granted, but
I would expect music to possibly move you the most or drive you the most.
There are songs that to this date give me chills every time I listen to them. And you would think that would wear off after a while, and some of them it has, and some of it hasn't. Adele's, the one from Bond, Skyfall. Every time I listen to it, I get chills. In answer to your question, Joey, I think that I personally think two things. One, that God intended music to be created. And because of that, he intended it to be enjoyed and an effective communication tool and just something that humans interact with and that God interacts with and listens to as well. We know God is a musical God. I think there's even a verse that says he sings. So I believe that it's there. The emotions are there because they're put there. They're intrinsic to our design. Two, I think, kind of like any memories, how a smell can trigger a memory, or just seeing something, or that deja vu feeling or something. I think music gets stored in a special place in your brain too and can trigger memories. I have songs that literally affect me, and I don't remember the first time I listened to them because literally my family would play them when I was a toddler, and I, from what they tell me, I used to like rock out to these songs, and now when I listen to them, it's on a whole different level. It's not that it's the best, most amazing song ever, but something inside of me responds differently to that song because it goes back beyond what I can even remember.
No, that totally makes sense. I mean, for me, that's a Goofy movie soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing it eye to eye.
Are they new songs, or are they like songs that they had to buy and like spend?
There were songs they made for
Prince? Didn't Prince do the soundtrack for that? Or at least a song?
No, it wasn't Prince, but it was someone else from the era, and they basically had that person create a persona for the movie, if I remember correctly.
I thought it was Prince.
There's a Prince character.
He's very Prince-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. The persona they make is very much like a Prince, Michael Jackson kind of.
What was that song? Like the song that he does,
Well, the Seeing It Eye to Eye, the one that I
That's
just
I
sang.
just didn't recognize it.
Because I sang it so well. And then there was a second one too that he sang.
Alphabet soup.
Well, that's one that Goofy had. No, I love that movie though. I mean, even like the really intimate songs that they have, like the Nobody Else But You.
Movie that I saw today for the first time ever with my wife. First time ever anyway, but I watched it with my wife. Brother Bear.
You've never seen that before?
Seen Brother Bear. Phil Collins does the soundtrack. He did famously Tarzan.
Yes, Brother Bear, not as good as Tarzan, but still Phil Collins.
Can't complain.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Joaquin Phoenix is the bear,
Yes. Yeah.
and you can totally hear it.
Yeah.
No, I feel like Brother Bear is one of the underrated Disney movies. So Brother Bear and Treasure Planet.
Oh yeah, I probably only saw that a couple times, but it was good.
Yeah. Are they Disney? Those are
Yeah.
Disney movies? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Atlantis. I feel like goes in
Atlantis
that
is another
category.
one. Yes.
My mom didn't like Brother Bear because of the spiritual aspect.
Yeah.
She didn't like it.
I think it's interesting how parents draw the lines so seemingly arbitrarily, because like Katya's parents, there's like half the Disney movies she didn't see because they were like, no, you shouldn't watch Aladdin. And then my parents were like, yeah, watch Aladdin, it's Aladdin. But then they didn't let me watch Brother Bear. And so it was just all these movies, like they didn't watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I did, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And her dad was apparently really excited about that movie. Like took them all to see it, kind of thing.
Brother Bear? Oh, wow.
I don't know.
It's a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
So Joey, why do you think music affects a person emotionally? What do you think?
Okay. So,
He has thoughts.
so there's yeah. You're gonna need to intake quite a bit of coconut water for this.
I don't have anything to drink.
So, sound, frequencies, energy, and what we do is what science is finding is built up of frequencies. And so I was thinking it's possible the reason why we feel certain emotions based off of certain songs is because it matches up in frequencies with the emotions and not the emotional energy, but like the physical energy, the frequencies that it's running at is in sync with certain notes. And maybe that's why it resonates more. So I was going to look it up to see if that was the case, but that was a theory I had.
So resonates literally.
Resonates
Like
literally.
with the fundamental frequency of sadness or joy or whatever.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And there is a science. Somebody, I think that Adele song is actually one of them. Certain note transitions, from this to the diminished, when you go from this chord to this chord, when you drop this many octaves, whatever it is. I'm not sounding very intelligent here. music things happen.
Oh,
But
okay.
they do it on purpose. They'd be like, we know that when we go from these notes to these notes, it elicits this sort of emotional response.
Oh, with certain key changes or note changes.
Note changes.
So it's like mind control, but emotion control.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like you can't help but feel your stomach drop or
Yeah.
a sense of sadness or a sense of joy when a certain
Yeah.
transition happens.
So it
really?
is true that they can control that. But it would be interesting to find out if you're correct that it matches up with fundamental frequencies of
Yeah.
emotions.
Okay.
The whole other side to that, aside from physical, is recognizing the God in it.
Yeah.
As you alluded to.
Yeah.
So like how it affects me, not the why, but the how it affects me. This will happen in church. This will happen at home. Listening to a specific song, how it manifests itself in me is extreme goosebumps and usually getting emotional. That is how I recognize. It's always with a feeling of God in it. I always feel like what I'm experiencing is the Lord with me right now.
Because I found that I am a musical person. I listen to music all the time. I play music, all that stuff. Church music, almost never gets me
Yeah.
emotional.
Sure.
I think it's just something to do with the style and the quality, and it doesn't always hit me the same way.
Yeah.
For me,
sometimes
there's-
it's the words.
I can agree with the lyrics,
Right.
and like that. Usually, I find church music more distracting than good.
There's probably about 2 or 3 songs, like you were saying, like a lot of songs. I agree with it. It's like I can sing it and be like, yeah, I'm behind
Yeah.
this. But that emotional response that comes, I think there's only like 3 songs that'll like get me with some of the note changes, in combination with the lyrics. You're like, oh, like I feel that in my chest.
Some of those with the octave changes,
Yeah.
they get you.
Yeah.
Like it's a gut punch.
Yeah. So my film teacher gave a lesson specifically on music and the transcendence, the transcendental feeling that you can get from. He was part of this choir. They would do it a cappella. They went to this one. They took some trip. I don't want to say it was the Sistine Chapel, but it was something to that effect. He played a recording of it, which he swore came nowhere near what it was really like.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful. It's just this choir, the recording of this choir singing in like the transcendental feeling of being literally transported somewhere. I believe that can happen.
And I don't think it's manipulative either to know that this can affect you in this way and purposely put it in the song in this point in the song.
Yeah.
If music can do that, I believe it's a created thing that God intended, and why not use that in an expression of your emotions toward God?
Yeah, it's part of storytelling. It'd be the same thing as changing my pitch and telling a story or a camera angle. If you change it to scare somebody, it's all part of telling that story. So yes, if used wrong, it could be considered manipulation. Sure. But same thing as in a song, it's part of the story. When the notes drop at the sad part of the song or the harmony or whatever, that's part of telling the story and what's behind the lyrics.
When the beat drops in the club, people still go crazy.
Yeah. You're like, I'm being manipulated.
Yeah. No.
Well, I do think that there is a drastic difference between lyrically driven and beat driven. I was about to say pop, because I do believe that pop is meant to manipulate. They write the beat first and then lyrics. But there are some songs, I just had this conversation with my buddy David, who showed me a song that was clearly lyric first, lyrically driven. And I love that difference.
Yeah, that was a compliment that the person that helped us record our album when I made a CD with 3 of my siblings, is he's like, it's unique that most of your songs, they feel like they're lyrically driven. And to me, that was a big compliment, because to me, the lyrics are the most important part.
I tend to gravitate towards more singer-songwriter type personalities. Because then even if the music is not all that impressive, it feels very purposeful. Like, this music is accompanying what I'm trying to communicate, as opposed to, like, this music is going to sell records, and then let's add some lyrics that don't really matter.
Anything else we want to talk about besides music?
Is this going to show up?
This is our transition. It will. We can cut it.
Yeah. Nice.
No, we're keeping that.
We're back. What should we talk about? We talked through the whole thing. We're back. Okay. So I was wondering, Seems like everybody has a story where they've come across a cat, or a cat has come across them and it hasn't gone well. Like, literally, it seems like everybody has a story about that. My sister-in-law's father, I don't know what to call him, Terry.
Not his name.
His name is George, but
Anyway, I'm not going to tell his story. It's not about him. But he has one. It's good. You should ask him.
he has a cat.
No story.
Oh, he's a cat story.
He
Okay.
would never have a cat after that story. This is a teaser, folks. We'll have him on someday. Yeah.
Can we call you Terry?
What should we call you?
Please continue.
But I I'm young, but I've had several run-ins with cats recently. One of them, I don't know if you can see there, it started to heal a little bit. You see this? It's claw marks. This
Yeah, I see
finger
that.
here. That one happened recently. I was holding a kitten and a teenage cat, and at the dining room table, and someone turned on the ceiling fan, and it went. And I was just like, and then it just bled profusely for a while, and then the cat just was on like in the living room just watching the fan for 20 minutes. Had never seen a ceiling fan. It doesn't know how to control its emotions and claws.
Puberty.
Yeah. I hear ceiling fans affect the fundamental frequencies of a cat's fear.
It's like, it's got
you
cooties.
know.
Or like combs or whatever. Have you seen those videos?
Oh,
What?
when you go on
And
the...
Wait, what?
I
yeah,
haven't seen that.
compilations. It's just like people are, thumbing through
Combs.
cone.
Like hair
Yeah,
combs?
Yeah, and the cats gag every time.
What? Is it because it sounds like when they're puking? Like, is it like a human reaction where we start puking because someone else is? Like when we hear the sound?
Or is it nails on a chalkboard to them?
It's nails on a chalkboard.
Really?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah,
What?
I have sounds like that too.
I did not know
Scraping against ice. I have to leave the room.
It doesn't make you gag, though. That's a weird
No,
response.
but it's a physical like.
Yeah. Oh, man, now I'm picturing, like, for me, it's cardboard on cardboard.
I was at this person's house, and okay, so they had two massive Rottweilers, and that's another story in and of itself. Plain. So this cat, all that happened was this cat was so ready to get out of this house, and I feel bad for it in hindsight. Actually, it was like, so I was leaving this place. I open, and this cat tries to dart, and I go, wah, and grab its tail, and I go, throw it in, and leave. I was like, that would have been so bad had I lost their cat.
Right, you would have felt embarrassed.
Yeah.
Currently, we are watching, well, a cat. We have some people staying with us, and they have a cat. Every time we open the door, it runs out and immediately flops on its back and just starts rolling around because it's like there's sort of a texture on the patio out there. And it's just scratching its back. We're always like, no! And it just lays down.
I just keep picturing Colin grabbing a cat and tossing it back in.
Very cartoonesque.
Yeah, my family had a kitten when we were growing up at one point that would constantly try and get out. It was also messed up. Like, it would try and it would just poop in the litter box and not cover it up. But then it would try and cover up its food. So it was completely backwards. It was messed
Mixed
up.
signal.
Yeah. But it would try and constantly get out of the house through any of the doors. But whenever it would go, and then it would just stop. Just stop right at the door. And it wouldn't want to go any farther because it's like, I made it. Now what do I do? I don't know how to get past this part.
Think this far.
Yeah. So it was pretty easy to get it back in. But yeah, I do have a traumatizing cat story.
Traumatizing for you or the cat?
For me.
Okay, yeah, we'll do tell.
Okay.
That's the point of this. I think we've all been traumatized by a cat.
Based on your stories, I thought we were talking about traumatizing the cat with the ceiling fan and the
Traumatized me,
yeah.
but I just
Oh,
showed you
yeah,
my
I'm sorry.
scars.
Yeah, but you're not a teenager. The cat's a teenager. It was terrified, I'm sure.
Full of angst, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so for me, we lived out in the country, and we basically adopted this neighborhood cat and had her give birth to a litter of cats in our garage.
Sounds spooky.
Oh.
You're setting up like a horror story, like we're in a campground.
Yes. So we weren't supposed to go in there. We were all super little at the time. Me, my younger brother, and my younger sister. And I woke up one morning and was looking for Elisa, my younger sister, and she was in the garage. So I went in. I was like, Elisa, we're not supposed to be in here. And so I went in and I stepped on the garage rug mat, just 1 foot, and my legs turned black from the fleas. Both my legs completely covered in black. And Elisa had just been standing in there completely covered. And so then my mom had to come and hose us down and do all this stuff. But like, I still, to this day, at that time, I was only, I mean, I think we moved out of that house when I was 4 or 5. But to this day, I remember crystal clear taking that step down into the garage. Elisa in her purple sweatshirt and sweatpants. Like, Elisa, you can't be in here. Step. And just this wave goes up on my leg. Like, I was terrified. Like, what do you do? And so that's why I've always been against cats, because they bring fleas in. So it's not directly against the cats. It's more against fleas. But I couldn't do it.
That was a creepy story.
So I do have another traumatizing story. My dad was coming home. We were in Brazil, living on our property, and he comes home and he has a trailer, and for some reason he like stops outside the gate, and we have this conversation, and I can hear a kitten meowing somewhere, but we don't know where it is, and so my dad eventually just like starts to roll and then come through the gate. And the kitten must have been underneath the thing, and it comes running out right as the wheel hits it.
How did they do that?
I know. Just stay under there. Didn't die.
Oh,
So
that's worse.
It's laying there with a trail of blood coming out of its nose. Casey walks out there, grabs a rock, and he goes, "Colin, don't look." I looked. And he threw it and he had its head. It still didn't die.
Oh.
So he had to pick it up again and throw it. And my brother had to brutally like put this kitten out of its misery. Yeah, it was rough.
I'm getting weird PTSD right now because I remember a roadkill cat that was my friend's, but I don't remember any of the details. I'm just getting like the cat bloodied up. I think we buried it and had a funeral and stuff. I built a coffin
For a cat?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
She's
Colin.
not as cool as the dog.
Nope.
Well,
Nope.
Colin, what's on your mind?
I hesitate asking about dogs because we just talked about cats, so I would almost prefer to have it be radically different. But I do have bad experiences with dogs. So,
Ooh, I'm gonna have to rack my brain here.
maybe I won't ask.
Okay. Do you want to include your story about a dog in the last one? And we can say, even though it's not about a cat.
Well, my first memory,
Was of a dog?
yeah, it was of a dog biting me,
Oh.
coming at me here.
Whoa.
So
that's what all this is about.
Yeah. It was my grandma's toy poodle, Copper, but I was cornering it.
Copper.
I was as old as my second youngest nephew, Link. I mean, I was like 3 years old when you start developing. This jump started my memory, like you know. But
So it's something that jump started my memory as a kid too.
Really?
Keep going. Yeah.
That was it. That's pretty much
Okay. Do we want to talk about what jump started
Yeah,
memories?
totally.
Then?
That was mine.
Ooh. Okay.
What jump started my memory, at least the farthest back memory that I have, is being lost on a snow mountain. I think our church youth group or something. My parents were taking the youth group up there.
Oh, okay.
And
I thought you were in the youth group. I was like, that's
yeah,
the earliest.
it's
you
seriously,
remember.
it's the oldest I can remember. No, so I would have been little, and I guess so. I don't remember specifics at all. I just remember being up there, and I remember finding 2 twin sisters who were part of another youth group that found me.
The Shining?
That sounds like another horror story.
But they stayed with me until we saw our group coming around the hill, and then I got reunited. But I have no memories of going up there. I have no memories before that. No memories really after that until I was a lot older.
Wow.
But just that random memory of being lost up on the mountain.
Yeah, you must have been young. Like,
I was. I don't know how young I was. The shortest I'd ever been.
yeah. What about you? What's like?
I don't. I'm not great with memories.
What's the farthest back you can remember?
I have a lot of memories, but chronologically, I'm not super sure. Like for me, everything was based on like, oh, I know it happened at that house versus that house versus that house. But
So what's the first
order,
house you remember?
Buena Vista.
Okay. What's the oldest memory you remember from Buena Vista?
That doesn't help. That was some great shrink work there, but yeah, I don't know. I remember early things. I remember being a kid. I do remember a lot of like low angle memories. And like being on the floor and being in like small spaces that you are in. You can only be in if you're a kid, and playing there. But specifically, nothing comes to mind. Sorry.
Early memories that can kind of go into like childhood friends, but it's really interesting the amount of childhood friends that I had that I have no contact with.
There's some that I like friended them on Facebook and have not talked to them on Facebook or like done anything with them. So they're just there. I see them. I know their life. I know they have kids now. Haven't talked to them.
It
20
is
years.
weird how social media has made it so we know so much about people we don't know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
People
then
that were your
I feel
best
like I
friend
said that. It
when
was
you
really
were 4.
insightful.
Yeah.
I saw that Ed Sheeran on the Graham Norton show came across someone sat in the red chair. That was apparently his old school buddy
Yeah, I
from like he was
saw
in
that.
elementary school. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
I was wondering about that this last week. Like how many people, because I work at a place that has hundreds of people there every day, that work there every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I wonder if that guy in the cafeteria I've had a class with, or I went to church with when I was 5. Like, I wouldn't know because
Yeah.
I don't remember everyone in every one of the however many classes I took. But we all live in Oregon, you know.
What really boggles my mind is that I mean I can drive by someone once in traffic, but to me I'm living my life every day like everything revolves around me of what I know, and everything revolves around them that they know, and the only time we interacted was just passing lanes and traffic, and that's it. And yet we were for a moment part of each other's like aware reality and then gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know who they're. I don't even know if then like maybe later on they're the person that then slams on their brake in front of someone that I know and then causes an accident. No idea. How else they'll interact with me for the rest of my life and the people I know. Like it's really
And
weird.
if you do interact with them again, you probably won't remember them. So
'Cause it
you'll
didn't
treat
stand
them
out.
as if they're a stranger,
Yeah.
even if you have interacted with them, maybe even multiple times.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And even more so now because of COVID covering up everyone's faces. I just
True.
had someone compliment that they didn't know I had a beard. Because they
Wait,
just saw me.
compliment?
They complimented like, "Oh, you grew out a beard."
Because they compliment you that you were like hiding it. You did a great job covering that up.
No, because they finally saw it without a mask. I
Okay.
was like, "I've had this forever."
I do remember an early memory. I remember the first time I realized that other people had the same level of consciousness as I did, and that seems very conceited, but that, you know, I'm thinking all these thoughts, I'm worried about all these things, I'm perceiving all these people, and they're doing that same thing, and it's just as important as in me doing that. And it's still kind of mind blowing when you
Yeah.
stop and think about it.
Like even physical lives, like people's lives are just as complicated as yours. It's nuts. They're not just like 2D characters.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And
Christian or
externally-
not, like
Yeah. It's not like a video game where things are buffering outside of
yeah.
my area that I can see right now. Like they're constantly living while we're making a podcast, just sitting here. Like even within the podcast, you've got your whole life going on that led to eventually you came here.
people are chopping wood. People are on, helicopter
People
rescue
were on that
missions.
plane flying by.
Well, we are shining spotlights in their face, so
I can only imagine it will help them chop wood better.
yeah. Yeah, where'd they stop? Come on.
Should have remixed that into our theme song.
Okay, speaking of this, so I'm working with this guy who take 2. No, who I just found out was at Jason Taylor's funeral.
Oh.
Whoa.
So 10 years ago, we crossed paths, and I never would have known had he not
Yeah.
said something.
So
Which is crazy.
obviously a friend of your cousin.
A friend of Bev's.
Okay.
A friend of Bev's, he's like retiring age, going to be doing that soon, actually. But
Interesting.
crazy to learn. And I was like, oh, yeah, Oregon. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's very small world. It's very weird. Especially, I feel like
Really?
especially the West Coast, because the population density is just so much less than the East Coast. But yeah, it's very odd.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask the people at home, get out of my face. Finally, this camera. I was going to ask the people at home if what their first memory is. If it's traumatic, hopefully not. And if they wanted to share it with us, and maybe we'll put it on the show. Maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe it'll spark another horrific, tragic event in my past that I've suppressed, just like Colin's cat story did.
Yeah. Or why do you think music is such a big deal?
Or do you have a horrifying cat story?
We're giving you options. Or do you have a time where music freaked out a cat and it's ingrained in your memory? Answer all three of us at one
And
time.
is that your first memory? Or the cat's first? I don't know.
Anyways, thanks
On
for
that note-
being a part of our podcast. We appreciate it. We promise to do better.
This podcast was not sponsored because who would sponsor this podcast?
That was 45 minutes.
That's why you were doing that?
I thought you were just being funny.
No.
Wow,
45 minutes. Wow.
That was kind of nice.
Cut
That was
down
sort
to
of
a
very
half hour.
conversational. I think just us being in the same place makes it a little more conversational. I enjoyed the direct eye contact.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a little intimidating.
Hold it. No, I'm just kidding.
Hold it. Hold it. And let go.
I think there was a bug in that thin minute.
I'm going to hit stop.